In this video, I'm going to explain when you might want to use ice rather than heat or vice versa for your tendonitis or tendinopathy. Also, what are the benefits that you can expect to gain during your recovery from either of these, when you definitely don't want to be using it, and if you're going to use it, how to best apply it. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Maryke. I'm one of the physiotherapists from sportsinjuryphysio.com, where you can get online physiotherapy assessment as well as treatment of any type of sports injury, all done via video call. If you want to know more about our service, have a look at the description of this video. I'll put a link to the website there. Both ice and heat has the potential to really help decrease your pain during your recovery, as long as you use it during the correct stage of healing, as well as for the correct type of tendonitis or tendinopathy. Why does that matter? Because ice has the potential to decrease excessive inflammation, while heat can actually increase inflammation and cause it to be excessive. So it matters when you use it and what you use it for. So when might there be inflammation involved in tendonitis that we don't want to amplify? Well, the research shows that for normal overuse tendonitis that develops because you've overdone an activity or you've walked in the wrong shoes, the tendon had to work harder than normal and now it's become painful. That type of tendonitis or tendinopathy, during the first few weeks, when your tendon first becomes painful, there might be a bit of inflammation present. But the longer it goes on, the less inflammation there is. So for cases that's older than 3 months, so chronic tendinopathy, as we call it, they don't really have much inflammation. So you can use heat for any type of tendonitis that's older than 3 months, but if your tendon pain started quite recently, ice is the better option. But then also, if you've had your tendon pain for 3 months or more and you experience a sudden painful flare up, quite a significant one, that may be an acute flare up of inflammation on top of your old injury. And then we also don't want to use ice. So then, don't want to use heat. So then ice would be the better option. There are also other types of tendonitis. So for instance, if your tendon pain is linked to an inflammatory condition like inflammatory gout or inflammatory inflammation, where excessive inflammation is part of the injury process, then you definitely don't want to put heat on there. You rather want to use ice to help calm the inflammation down. Also, if your tendonitis or tendon pain started after you used antibiotics, like fluoroquinoline antibiotics specifically, that tend to cause quite an excessive inflammatory response in the tendon as well. And in that case, you definitely also don't want to use heat. Ice can be the better option if you need it. Heat can be safely used for any overuse type of tendonitis that's older than 3 months. In that case, we tend to call it a tendinopathy in any case because there isn't much inflammation present at all. However, you can also use heat on the muscles, just leaving the tendon area alone at any stage of tendinopathy to just let things relax. And please don't think that I'm meaning with heat treatment a hot shower should also be avoided. Hot showers are fine. Things like that is fine. It's when you have targeted, quite warm heat treatment on the thing that is already inflamed that you want to avoid. Another time that you want to avoid heat is if you can see there is active signs of inflammation. And those signs are if the area is red, swollen, it can be throbbing, it can feel warmer than the other side. And if we think of regular tendonitis, especially Achilles tendonitis, there can often be bursitis together with the tendinopathy or tendonitis. So the tendon itself may be in the chronic stage where there isn't much inflammation, but then the bursa can be really inflamed and sore or become inflamed during the process of recovery. And then you also don't want to put heat on it. So basically, if you want to know heat or ice the best, if there's a good chance that there's excessive inflammation involved, then ice is your better option. If it's very much an ongoing situation and the pain is very stable and you've had it for more than 3 months and is not linked to an inflammatory condition, then you can use heat if that makes things feel better. If you're looking for more specific treatment information about specific types of tendonitis, have a look at the description of this video. We've created loads of content that's specific for different types of tendon injuries, and I'll put links to the resources there. But the question we should be looking to answer is, Does heat or ice actually speed up your healing? How is it meant to help it? Do you need it to recover? The answer for that is no, you don't need it to recover. The ice and heat doesn't have a direct influence on the healing process. So it's not going to make the cells heal or recover more quicker or get the collagen to produce more quickly that the fibers can get stronger. For that, you actually need your relative rest plus your strength training or whatever exercise you have to do to stimulate the body to get the tendon to recover. The ice and the heat only works on the pain system and helps that calm down. Now, that is important as well because the pain can actually stop you from doing your rehab. It can interfere with your sleep. So if you're having excessive pain, then ice and heat can be a really useful part of the treatment. It should just not be seen as a standalone treatment. However, if you have a condition that has excessive inflammation and you can use the ice to calm the inflammation down to a point where it's just to a useful level, then that can be a more direct influence on healing. So this is also why we don't tell our patients as a routine thing that everybody should apply ice or heat. We only suggest it in cases that we feel people have quite a lot of pain and they need to get that under control, or there could be an element of excessive inflammation that we want to help get under control. And also, I want to stress that I know I said that even your overuse tendonitis has an element of inflammation to it. It's not that we have to suppress all inflammation. Inflammation is actually a very useful part of the healing process. And you don't have to worry that ice is going to stop your healing because you're now applying ice and it's going to stop all inflammation. It's not that strong. It only lasts for a little bit and it only calms inflammation down to an extent. It doesn't stop it totally. And as long as you use it in the way that I'm going to describe in a minute, it's not going to stop you from healing. It's just going to support your healing process. But like I said, it's only useful if you're struggling with excessive pain or you have an inflammatory condition or situation there that's making the inflammation excessive. If you are going to use ice, how can you use it safely? Well, first of all, you need to have normal sensation in the area. If you can't feel what's happening there, you can actually give yourself an ice burn and cause damage. So you've got to have normal sensation. Second is if you have any circulatory problems, don't use it, because if your blood vessels to your skin doesn't open or close in the normal way to changes in temperature, again, you can actually cause tissue damage because it can get way too cold. But if you have normal skin, normal sensation, no issues with that, then ice is a safe thing to use. The recommendation is to only apply it for 10 minutes at a time. So you put it on for 10 minutes, then you remove it for 10 minutes. And the reason you're removing the ice for 10 minutes is to allow the skin to warm up. The tissue below that still stays cool for the period that you remove it, but it's important to help protect the skin. And then you can reapply it for another 10 minutes. So a full ice session is 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, 10 minutes back on. That's the total session. Then you need to have a couple of hours of break at least, and then you can reapply it if you need to. You can do it 2 to 3 times a day if you have excessive pain or inflammation you're trying to get under control. But remember, all things in life can be overdone. So with treatments and stuff, often less is more. So just use it as much as you need it, really. If you need it after every single exercise session you're doing, your exercises aren't correct, then you need to speak to your physio because they need to adapt your physio exercises. Physio exercises are not meant to cause a level of discomfort or pain that you actually need medication or ice or something to get it under control afterwards. It is okay if you're aware of some discomfort while you're doing your exercises and for a little bit afterwards, but it shouldn't be excessive pain that you're feeling, and it should calm down relatively quickly. There aren't really any official guidelines or expert opinion on how to use heat for tendonitis or any painful condition. What I find best is if you limit your treatments to about 30 minutes, and it should be uh, comfortably quite warm, but not excessively warm. I've seen some patients, especially with high hamstring tendinopathy, sitting can be really painful for high hamstring tendinopathy because it's right by your sit bone. And they often tend to sit on heat packs nearly all day long. And when you look at the area, the skin has actually changed color and you see blotches on it. And that for me is a sign that the tissue doesn't actually like the amount of heat it's getting. Because remember, our tissues have an optimal temperature they function at. So I would say limit your heat treatments to at least to just 30 minutes. Have it comfortably hot, but not super hot that that it's something that you actually have to endure. It needs to feel comfortable. And you can do it a few times a day, but I would again have enough, like 2 hours or so between it. And again, if you find that there's things in your day that pushes your pain up so high that you need heat really frequently, then the idea is more to see, can you adjust those activities? Not cut them out, but is it that perhaps you shouldn't be pushing your sitting for 2 hours before you try to get up, but instead you do a 30-minute sit, 30-minute stand, 30-minute sit, something like that? We find that often if you play with how you do and schedule activities in the day, you can really get your pain under control and you can get the tissue to be much happier and recover better. So all of those things are stuff to discuss with your physio. If there's an element in your day that you can feel is pushing your pain too far, chat to them. They likely have an idea about how to adjust it because, like with our team, we see so many tendon injuries that there are lots of bits of advice that we've picked up through the year. Brilliant. Hope you found that useful. Let me know if you've got any questions. You can just ask them in the comments. I'll answer them there. And if you need more help with your tendon injury, you're welcome to consult the team via video call. The link to our website is in the description of this video. Take care.